Hey guys, RC Thunder here. Today I am going to be reviewing all of the Pokemon featured in all of the eggs during Season 4 of Pokemon Go, the Season of Discovery. Let's get to it. First, we are starting with the 2-kilometer eggs from Pokestops and Gyms. These eggs are pretty basic. There are a lot of similarities to the ones last season, but there's also some differences. All the Pokemon that were in these eggs last time are Wailmer, Swablu, Bunnelby, Fletchling, Litleo, Spritzy, and Swirlix. Spritzy and Swirlix are more rare than the others, but I kind of wish they gave us all new Pokemon. But again, most of those can be shiny, which is a bonus. And Metatite was still in the eggs too. But the new ones include both Nidorans, Barboach, and Drifloon. Those are okay eggs because the Pokemon that are in these eggs are mainly either the theme of the season or they're from other seasons that you can't get as spawns right now. So for example, we can't get Wailmer spawns right now, for Wailmer was a featured spawn during the Season of Discovery. But to make sure we can still get it, it was featured in these eggs. Same goes for Barboach. Next, we have the 5-kilometer eggs. Oh, and by the way, hang on. The only region-restricted Pokemon in 5Ks is Mime Jr., which I'll get to that in a sec. These eggs are actually a lot better because there are a lot more things in here that you can hatch that are either good or can be shiny. Seal, Dugong is not that good, but it can be shiny. Togekiss is great for GBL, and Togepi can be shiny. Fortress is a decently good gym defender, and Pineco can be shiny. Skarmory has a high shiny rate. Azumarill is God tier in GBL, and Azurill can be shiny. Sableye will have a Mega coming soon, and it can be shiny. Chingling, well, Chingling's probably the worst thing you can get. I mean, Chimecho is rare, but it can't be shiny. And honestly, I kind of still need Chingling in my Pokedex, so that's the only reason I'll hunt it. Chespin, Fennekin, and Froakie are all fine. None of them can be shiny because none of them had community days yet, but Greninja is decently good for PvP. And don't worry about this unless you're from Europe, but yeah, Mime Jr. is a regional because it only spawns in eggs. Mime Jr. is one of the rarest regionals out there because, first of all, it only spawns from eggs, and the only way you can hatch it is by obtaining a 5-kilometer egg from Europe. Not to mention it can be shiny, making it one of the rarest shinies of all time. So if you have one, consider yourself lucky. Next we have the 10-kilometer eggs, and crewmate, there is an imposter among us. Everything in here is very good. Everything in these eggs is either super rare or super good. Riolu is good because it's very rare, it can be shiny, and Lucario is good in Team Rocket battles. Audino is rare and can be shiny. Timber is a Pokemon that only shows up in raids and can be shiny. Darumaka, rare, can be shiny. Emolga, well, Emolga is probably the worst thing you can hatch from these. Because although Emolga is very rare in the wild, it's not that good. And it can't be shiny. It's got nothing going for it. Clink is rare because it's like Timber. It's another raid exclusive Pokemon. It does not spawn in the wild and it can be shiny. Axew is very good because Haxorus is very strong. And although it can't be shiny right now, Axew is extremely rare in the wild. So, yeah. Mienfoo. Well, we have some chatting to do about Mienfoo because Pokemon Go, Niantic was false advertising about Mienfoo being in the eggs. Because in the Season of Mischief blog post, they made it clear that Mienfoo was going to be in 10Ks. Because originally it was only an encounter from a reward in the Go Battle League. I already obtained 2 10-kilometer eggs from the Season of Mischief, so I go into Pokemon Go right now. I go here, good with 10K, and look at that. Mienfoo is nowhere to be found. Okay, so, yeah. Rufflet is very rare and it can be shiny. Esper is another raid exclusive Pokemon. It's not really that good to hatch because it appears pretty frequently in raids, and I'm only really still hunting it because I want to get both its male and female form. Goomy is extremely rare, about as rare as Axew. And it can't be shiny, but Goodra is pretty good because it's a pseudo-legendary. And Noibat. Noibat can't be shiny, but like the others, is very rare in the wild. And to put into perspective how rare it is, it's more common than Axew and Dino, but in my entire Pokemon Go career, I only caught 2 of them in the wild. That's it. It's very rare. One of them, I actually had one of them spawn in the wild, but I was driving, I was in an Uber at the time, and I just couldn't get it. I tried clicking on it and it despawned before I could. Next we will be covering the 7-kilometer eggs. The 7-kilometer eggs are way better this season because there are a lot more things in here that can be shiny, besides just the Alolan forms. Alolan Geodude, well, Alolan Golem's not that good, and it's probably the worst thing you can hatch out of these eggs. And it's the most common hatch, which is very annoying. Alolan Grimer is better because it can be shiny. And believe it or not, I managed to hatch a shiny Alolan Grimer. As of right now, shiny Alolan Grimer is the only shiny I ever hatched from an egg. I know, I'm terrible. And Alolan Muck is pretty good for PvP. Galarian Ponyta, I'm pretty sure, was the first Galarian form to get its shiny released. And they weren't kidding, because it's a very graceful shiny. Stunfisk was one of the shinies, was one of the new Galarian shinies to come out during Ultra Unlock, and it's a pretty good shiny. And it's the first example of a shiny form of a regional variant coming before the original form. Yes, shiny Galarian Stunfisk came out before shiny regular Stunfisk. I know, it's weird. Shiny Galarian Meowth is another one of those examples. Berserker is not that good, but it can be shiny. It's got a very nice gold shiny. Alolan Sandslash is good for PvP, and Alolan Sandshrew can be shiny, so that's good. Alolan Dugtrio is pretty bad. It's a glass cannon and it's not that good. But it can be shiny though, but that's really all it has going for it. Alolan Persian is another one that's not that good, but it can be shiny. Surfetch'd is great for PvP, and Galarian Farfetch'd can be shiny now, so it's very good. Alolan Ninetales is excellent for PvP, and it can be shiny. Obstagoon is another really great one for PvP, and it can be shiny now. Galarian Slowpoke is a pretty bad hatch. I mean, it's the only really way you can get Galarian Slowpoke right now, but it's not that good. Because I'm not really completely aware of where Galarian Slowbro lies on the tiers, but I'd stock up on Galarian Slowpoke so you can get a good one for when Galarian Slowking comes out. And again, Galarian Darumaka, it can't be shiny. It's extremely rare out of the eggs. It can't be shiny. But Galarian Darmanitan is one of the strongest ice types out there. Next, you will be covering the Adventure Sync eggs, which the 5Ks are awful in this one. Literally, the only thing to change was Frillish. Cranidos and Shieldon are still there. Those are the really only good hatches. Frillish is in the eggs. Dynamo, Skrelp, and Clauncher. Skrelp and Clauncher are pretty bad hatches out of these eggs. Especially considering you have to walk 25 kilometers in 1 week just to hatch them. And also, Skrelp and Clauncher are still spawning, even during the season of Mischief, because Skrelp and Clauncher are counterpart Pokemon, and I still get Clauncher spawns where I live. And Dynamo is still spawning, Frillish is still spawning. Frillish is also a very common reward you can get from GBL. So, if you're trying to get a good Frillish for Go Battle League, do not go for these eggs. Don't go for these eggs unless you accidentally get them, because they're really not that good. Literally, the only things that can be shiny are Cranidos and Shieldon. Even though Sylph Road is saying they can't be shiny because I don't know why, it's a glitch. They somehow forgot that Cranidos and Shieldon can be shiny. The 10Ks are a little better now. There are some things that are questionable in here, but they are pretty good now. Dratini, I mean, it's cool. It's the OG pseudo-legendary and the OG dragon type. And it's pretty rare and it can be shiny, so that's cool. Bagon and Beldum are pretty rare, and they can be shiny. Riolu, literally the only way to get Riolu is from eggs, and that's good, because it can be shiny. Dino is extremely rare. Yes, I'm pretty sure this is the first time in a long time we're seeing Dino in these eggs. The only way to get Dino right now in the eggs is from a 12-kilometer egg. And Noibat was added. Noibat was in these eggs during the season of Discovery, so the only new thing in here is Dino, but it's pretty cool. Speaking of Dino, we will be finally moving on to the 12-kilometer eggs. Alright, first we will be starting from the most common hatches and then moving our way down. Vullaby. Well, it's important that you get a good Vullaby if you want to use a Mandibuzz for PvP. Because Mandibuzz is pretty good, and really the only thing that can tear it apart is Charmers like Wigglytuff and Clefable. Larvitar is a decent hatch because it can be shiny, and Tyranitar is amazing raids. Tyranitar is an amazing gym/raid attacker. Absol is decently good because it has a high shiny rate, and it also is... It will have a Mega coming out pretty soon. Scrafty is pretty bad because it's good for PvP, it's decent for PvP, but Charmers would absolutely tear it apart. Poniard is really good because the only way to get Poniard is from these eggs. It does not spawn anywhere else. And yeah, the only way to get Poniard is from strange eggs. And Bisharp is pretty good. Sandile, there's no reason why Sandile should be much more rare than Poniard, especially considering that Sandile is a 3-way evolution, while Poniard is only a 2-way evolution. It should have been the other way around, but yeah. Sandile is pretty rare. It is one of the tier 3 hatches, but luckily it's the most common of the bunch. Skorupi. I understand why Skorupi is in here. It's because Skorupi is a poison type. It's a poison and bug type, which is something that Team Rocket would have, but they didn't have to make it that rare. I mean, they should make it at least a little rare because it is still spawning in the wild, but Skorupi is still... Drapion is pretty good, but Skorupi has an incredible shiny, but the odds of you getting one from these strange eggs is very low. Pancham is the latest Pokemon to be added to the 12 kilometers. I'm not sure exactly how good Pangoro is, but all I know is that as a fighting and dark type, it would get shredded by Charmers. Dino, we just talked about Dino in the 10Ks of Adventure Sync. Hydreigon is pretty good because, well, obviously it's a pseudo-legendary. And also because Dino is extremely rare, and it can be shiny, and it's got an extremely rare shiny. Probably the best way people were able to get shiny Dino was from GoFest, but I was one of the unlucky ones and did not get a shiny Dino, so yeah, it stinks. Quillfish. Why is Quillfish the rarest thing you can hatch? Why? Why the rarest thing? In my opinion, Dino should have been the rarest thing. Like, Quillfish can be shiny, and it's got a really great shiny. It's got a really nice pink shiny, but there's no reason to make it this rare. It just doesn't make sense, honestly, because how could Dino, being the base form of a pseudo-legendary, be more common than a pufferfish that cannot evolve? Alright, so that is the end of this video, and this is RC Thunder signing off. Bye-bye.